With 2 events to go in the Tour de Endurance Season 4 B-League, relegation is looming more than ever now as we head on to the Hubelino Pursuit. We saw this in the 8th event of the A-League. 4 marbles from each team going to go down. It's not quite a relay, but every marble will push their competitors until at the end all 4 marbles will be going, and all 4 marbles crossing the line, the first 4 marbles across the line will get the win and advancement.
So you must get all 4 across the line to win the race. 3, as in most pursuit events, usually it's 3, but you've got to get all 4 this time. It acts as sort of a relay, but not really a relay. And you see here Black Holes and Cherry Blossoms giving it a run, giving us a show as per usual. And currently it's Blossoms cruising through that like snake section, but in those last few corners, everything can change. Black Holes did close right up, but it just wasn't enough. And there you see in the end, Cherry Blossoms didn't get the win, but it's about all those 4, and yes, relegation is looming very large over this event in particular. Flash Fires, Silly Slimes, Sweet and Sours, and Woodsman are currently those 4 in the relegation zone. Teams close include Crystal Pistols, Navy Seals, Steel Force, and a few others, so it's still not a locked-in bottom 4, but you have to perform here, otherwise you're in a whole lot of trouble. And Rosemary's and Sweet and Sours, there's one of them already, lining up for the first race.
Yeah, we saw in the A-League, you want to avoid the bumps, especially towards the end. That is where it can really go south if you don't avoid the bumps between competitors. Rosemary's have the lead right now. Can Sweet and Sours come back? It's not going to happen. That 4th marble for the Sours really far behind. And the Sweet and Sours, after an already poor first 6 events, relegation is looking very imminent for this team in particular. Rosemary's, though, contending for the championship. They are going to get a top half finish here as we move on to the second heat.
There's also several teams actually close to the championship for this B-League. Rosemary's are currently up there. Onion, I think they're actually leading it. Onion Union and Moneymakers are also close. Navy Seals, in fact, trying to catch the Moneymakers. They're close to that relegation zone on the Navy Seals, and they're going to stay close to it as Moneymakers, in that last stretch in particular, cruised to a victory. They kept it fairly clean, or at least cleaner than the Navy Seals did. They were all over the place. A 2-2 split for the Navy Seals. That is about the worst strategy you can do. As we move on to Crystal Pistols and Team Sunrise. Team Sunrise are well up there in the championship fight. Crystal Pistols are right on the bubble. So, very important race for both of these competitors. Who's going to pull through?
Yeah, the stakes are so important for pretty much every team in this event. Sunrise now on the back foot, but very close to Crystal Pistols, and the Crystal Pistols get held up. Oh, a drag race between those 4th marbles across the line. Team Sunrise had the lead, but I think Crystal Pistols got by. And yes, they did by 3 thousandths of a second. Crystal Pistols had disaster for those marbles towards the end, but then brought it back just at the last possible moment.
Well done to Paragon there. The last marble for the Crystal Pistols just pushed forward at the very end to win the race for the team and push them into the top half for this event. If they can push any further, it would be excellent. Currently, Steel Force are just ahead of the Quantum Tunnels, and they're going to stay. That is an excellent final corner by the Steel Force. They pushed their way through to the quarterfinals. But Quantum Tunnels, besides those first 2 golds, their lack of experience has been showing, as they have really struggled besides those first 2 golds and continue to struggle with another bottom half finish here. Popsicles and Flash Fires in the bottom 4, they need a big result, and Popsicles aren't safe yet is another important race.
Yeah, the Popsicles really desperately need to avoid this relegation. They're currently well ahead of the Flash Fires. Flash Fires also need a good result here. Can they make a comeback? Oh, it's going to be close, but not quite for the Flash Fires. Popsicles kept their composure very well towards the end. You can see avoiding those collisions. So even if it was really close towards the end, the Popsicles just did not let the Flash Fires get by. Croissant Crew and Team Mayhem will start off heat number 6 now after that match.
Now these top two in the last event, Croissant Crew are now just got a gold. Team Mayhem 2 silvers on the bounce. They're both doing very well at the moment, and Croissant Crew are pulling away here, and they have pulled it all the way across the line. So Croissant Crew, 2 top halves at least in a row as they got that gold in the last event, and looking to stay alive. Team Mayhem with 2 silvers in the last 2 events. I'm pretty sure they'll be okay, but again, there's stakes for everyone in this. We never know what's going to happen. Now here's a big one. Onion Union championship leaders versus, or one of the championship leaders previously, versus the Woodsman in last place. Woodsman have to do well here, and off the first leg it is already not looking good.
The Woodsman on the back foot, they're bringing it back a little, I must say. It's going to be pretty close towards the end. Can the Woodsman catch up? It's not going to happen. The Onion Union had a great start, perhaps got a bit ahead of themselves towards the middle part of the course, because you can see just how close the Woodsmen were. With 12-second times for both Woodsmen, are not going to get a good result here. Dare I say, they might be locked in relegation after this event, but we'll still have to see. As we go on to the final heat, it's Lagoon Platoon and the Silly Slimes. Lagoon Platoon have a good start in the top leg, but Silly Slimes trying to catch up and are pretty close on the bottom.
Oh, it's a lovely finish corner by Lagoon Platoon there. They were already out in front. There was no contact. Just this is how you do these last set of corners. Your fourth marble slows down just a little bit to avoid knocking into his teammate and keeps it clean. 11.453, the best time we've seen so far today for Lagoon Platoon. They knock out the Sleece Lions, and I think all of the bottom 4 got eliminated in that heat. So I don't know if they're locked in for relegation, but it all depends on how some of their competitors, Crystal Pistols one of them, who are right above them, it all depends on what they do. So quarterfinal A, Rosemary's and Moneymakers. Rosemary's are in the lead, Moneymakers are close, somewhere in the middle of the pack. So this is not the most important race as they both made it through, but we'll see what happens. Rosemary's currently out in front, but Moneymakers are keeping it very close. It's dead even through the last few corners. It's across the line, it is very close. I think the Moneymakers just held on, but I'm not confident.
Yeah, the Rosemary's just a bit more speed towards the end there, and it's a photo finish, but the Moneymakers once again by 300th of a second. We see that 3,000ths, we see that margin once again between those two teams. The Moneymakers just barely get by as we go on to the next quarterfinal. Crystal Pistols and the Steel Force. The margin can be so fine in an event like this. Steel Force get out in front. Crystal Pistols on the back foot. Ooh, they're not coming back, but as I say that, they're kind of close towards the end there. It's not going to happen for the Crystal Pistol. Steel Force will hold them off on the bottom lane, and they will get advancement.
On the semi-finals against the Moneymakers for the Steel Force, they're trying to keep themselves out of relegation this time round. Popsicles, who are in this next race, have also escaped from relegated in Season 3. They're trying their very best to avoid it. Those 4 relegated teams from last season have done pretty well. Besides the Sweet and Sours, they've struggled to try and get back up to those other relegated rivals, but it's not happening for Sweet and Sours. Popsicles, it's not happening for them here either, as Croissant Crew are going to cruise to a victory. Popsicles were pretty close for most of that race, but just in the last stretch here, there was a bit too much contact in that set of corners right there, while Croissant Crew kept it clean, and they're onto the semi-finals pretty soundly there.
Yeah, you can see the separation ballooning for the Popsicles right towards the end. That is not a good sign for your formation across the line, and the Popsicles will pay the price for it. As we go on to Onion Union and the Lagoon Platoon. Onion Union very close to the top of the standings. The Lagoon Platoon, though, have the edge on them right now. Onion Union's right with them, though, with some not great formation for them on the far side. Means Lagoon Platoon will cruise to the win here.
Lagoon Platoon seems to be able to do those last few corners very well, and it's worked out expertly so far. They'll face the Croissant Crew, there you see, in semi-final B. Rosemary's take 5th. Championship leaders, that's a good result. Onion Union in 7th, the team trying to catch them. Another decent result, but the championship battle could go down to the very last day, and even the very last race of Event 8, but that remains to be seen. Semi-final A of this current event, Moneymakers and Steel Force, both in the middle of the pack, both trying to jump up. What can they do? Steel Force have just a better first leg, and seem to be pulling away a little bit. Moneymakers actually closing up, coming into the last leg, and through the final few corners, Steel Force stumble, and the Moneymakers push through to the final, now with a chance for gold.
Steel Force, oh, that contact was so detrimental for them, and the Moneymakers absolutely pounced on it. Moneymakers are defending B-League champions, not quite as high up the standings this time around, but they're on their way to the final at a chance for gold. Who will join them, the Croissant Crew or the Lagoon Platoon? Both very safe in terms of relegation. Croissant Crew have the lead that round, but the Lagoon Platoon is close. Will they be able to come back? I don't think they will. Croissant Crew, very nice formation across the line, and they're going to cruise to the final.
Yeah, the Lagoon Platoon there, that's one of the worst bits of contact we've seen all day. Commentators cursed. As I said, they were doing that expertly. They stumbled in the semi-finals, and they will be condemned to the 3rd place round here as Rosemary's and the Croissant Crew and Moneymakers rather. And watch this one for the bronze medal. Steel Force and Lagoon Platoon. Steel Force yet to get a medal in these games, but Lagoon Platoon already have 2. Can they make it a 3rd here with a 2nd bronze? We're off in the 3rd place round.
Lagoon Platoon, first marble, gets well ahead of the Steel Force. Steel Force trying to catch up now, as though they're not looking like they're going to be able to do it. Can they get some contact from Lagoon Platoon? It's not going to happen. Lagoon Platoon do not make the same mistake as they did in the semi-finals, and they will cruise to a bronze medal here. Very well done by them. Getting back to that form that we saw from them earlier in this event, Steel Force will miss the podium. But we get ready now for the final. You can see each of the marbles in their designated places. Who will claim gold in the Hubelino Pursuit?
could be a critical goal either way. Both of these teams, if they can claim it, they'll pretty much be set to go in terms of avoiding relegation. It looks like a better start for the Moneymakers, but Croissant Crew through the last few turns, sweep in front. 2 in a row for the Croissant Crew could end up happening. They're trying to pull away. Moneymakers are keeping it close, still keeping it close through the last 3 turns, and it's great formation from both teams across the line, but just like in the last event, the Croissant Crew fend off the challenge and will get 2 golds in a row to surely be safe from relegation. And Moneymakers with a silver also, I'm pretty confident that they will be fine.
So with just one event to go in the B-League, there is a lot to unpack here. The top 7 safe from relegation and can win the B-League. Quantum Tunnels not safe from relegation but can win, and the bottom 8 cannot win the B-League and are also in danger of relegation. The next event will be Collision for the A-League